Hey guys, how's it going? So this morning we're out working in the back formal garden. It's a little bit breezy out, which is a really welcome change because it's still getting so hot. I am going to be planting today, which is not the best thing to do when it gets so hot outside, but we're going to be working in the shade and planting shade-loving plants. As point of reference, this is where we're working, back where the boxwood hedge and the urns are. We just did some maintenance back here in a video last week. And we are going to be planting right under here. I've really not touched this area since we moved in. You can tell there's just blank spots. And I don't necessarily want to grow anything super tall because the neighbors have a nice yard. It's kind of a borrowed view, honestly, or a borrowed landscape rather. And I like being able to see, so I don't really want to block it off, but I would like to plant some things that like the shade because this is pretty much what this area looks like all the time. We've got a Sensation box elder tree, which is actually an Acer. It's in the maple family. So that's what's right above it. Let me back up so you can see it. There we go. Isn't that a nice looking tree? Really should have more of these. Like, wouldn't it look awesome to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're gonna have to get rid of this tree, you guys. Scarlet Curls Willow. It's always full of spider mites every single year. It defoliates every summer, and then it does push new leaves on those dead looking branches. But I don't think I want to keep that around. Something that has bug issues unless you treat it with a lot of chemical. So I think that that one's probably not long for this world. But I'm thinking a nice big evergreen right in this section would look really nice. Anyway, the Sensation box elders, I think they grow 30 to 35 feet tall, maybe a 25-foot spread. I could be off by, 5 feet or so, but that's kind of in general what they do. This one's at full maturity, gorgeous in the fall. I think I've got pictures. Maybe we can throw one up on the screen if I can find one, but they are phenomenal trees, not bugged by anything insect-wise or disease-wise. And then right below it, we have irises, which somehow these irises, which are pure white, they're here and here, they bloom even though they get, like, this is the sun they get. It's kind of wild to me. So I just try to kind of keep the base of them cleaned up, and we cut them back in the fall typically. We've got campanula here, just kind of a ground cover. I mean, it's really just kind of not spectacular back here at the moment. I planted 3 bare root peonies, 2 of them, one of them's getting completely gobbled up. 2 of them came up. That's their first year. There's a hardy geranium and Ann Folkard. This is a ground cover something, Veronica, I think. And then I'm trying to eradicate that Angelica. That's what we cut back in the maintenance video. Just a super beastie plant. It's beautiful, but it's a beast. So hopefully we can reseed some grass right here. Well, hopefully in the end, we're gonna make these borders a little bit deeper, but that's way out. So what I've got are a bunch of hostas, different varieties, and Virginia. So all of which have really big, bold leaf structure, which I think is needed back here. We need something that can fill in the area easily, that's not fussy, because I hardly ever am back here, and I don't wanna have to be back here. That's one thing about what we want to do in terms of redesign. We want to create something in this area that makes us want to be back here. I mean, because right now there's no seating here, there's nothing like that. So that's something we'll work on developing. So anyway, I want to put stuff back here that looks pretty, will fill in, that I don't have to fuss with. So I'm going to go get all my plants. Isn't that a gorgeous trailer load? And some of these have the potential, like I've got some Woola La Hostas, Diamond Lake, like that one, I think Diamond Lake, it's 40 some inches wide. Woola La, I think it's 4 to 5 feet wide. So some of these have potential to get really quite large, and I think it's just a really beautiful play on leaf color and texture. There's some Gold Coast hostas that have the bright chartreuse, Hudson Bay that have almost like an iridescent blue look to them with the lighter green, creamy green center. Oh, there's Cheddar. Hey, Cheddar. Hey, kitty kitty. Hey, bud. The Virginia here, which is called Miss Piggy. I love it. Other than the hard water damage, because that's just what happens when we've got them in nursery containers in our greenhouse. That's why our drip system is so important to us, because this is just what happens. So that will cease to happen once they're in the ground and being watered from underneath. But I love the leaf structure. Love it. And they do bloom, like Miss Piggy blooms early through mid-spring. They send up stalks with big clusters of bright pink blooms. But after that's done, you've just got these really thick, kind of leathery, look at them, thick, leathery looking leaves. They just add such a gorgeous, deep green weight Cheddar, what are you doing, bud? And this one here, Miss Piggy, grows 16 to 18 inches tall and 28 to 32 inch spacing. So, I mean, these also will spread out quite wide. And I thought they might make a really beautiful bank right here, maybe with some chartreuse colored hostas right behind them. I think that could be a really nice look. A few of the other things I have in here, we've got a wild rose heuchera. I do have more of these in the greenhouse. I'm not actually sure if I want to add a color back here though. I kind of like the serene look of just having different shades of green, but we'll just see. I brought it out here to try it. There's some wee hostas right here that have the nice curly leaves. What other hosta did I not mention? I think that's what I've got at the moment. The other great things about these plants are how tough they are. So I think the hostas are all zone 3 through 9. The Virginia is a zone 4 through 9, and they're just incredibly low maintenance. So hostas, the only 2 things that I do with them, well, I guess 3. We do come along in the spring and fertilize them, but that's just kind of part of the routine along with everything else. We cut them back in the fall, and we deadhead them about midsummer. The rest of my hostas are blooming right now. Some of the blooms I leave up, the ones that are really fragrant, and some of them I actually deadhead before I even let them bloom, because I don't really care for the blooms on hostas that much. And then the Virginia is an evergreen. I had it in my last garden, or it's at least a semi-evergreen. In the really cold climates, you may need to do some cleanup, kind of like hellebores. You may need to clean them up and possibly cut them back in the early spring and let them push new growth. Otherwise, in more mild climates, they may just stay beautiful all winter for you. But the only other thing we'll do with those is fertilize them in the spring and then deadhead them when they're done blooming, like late spring. I don't even know how I'm gonna lay these out exactly, so I'm just gonna mess with it and I'll show you before I start planting. All right, I think it's gonna be so pretty. The hard part about planting these types of plants is that I know they get really big, so I don't want to overcrowd, but at the same time, I want to pack the area full so it's gorgeous from day one. Please tell me I am not the only one who struggles with that. So let's take a closer look. Underneath this tree in this little bump out, we've got 3 Gold Coast hostas. I think that's a really pretty break in the deeper green color, so it'll kind of provide that bright pop. They grow about 30 inches tall, so they'll be my back layer behind our Miss Piggy Virginia, which grows 16 to 18 inches tall. So I think that'll be a really nice layered look. This needs to bump out just a little bit. But these plants right here will definitely fill in this area. Like, there will be no room eventually for anything else. To space them a little bit better, geez. So in this long, narrow section, I've got the bigger hostas toward the back, the smaller growing ones toward the front, and then I just capped each end with a heuchera. I tried every other with the heuchera, and I just am not a fan of that look, kind of the checkerboard look. I like big drifts of things and then little accents. So that's kind of what I came up with. Now, the hostas I have in the back, Empress Wu, Wu La La, Diamond Lake, all get pretty good size. So Wu La La and Empress Wu want to go 3 to 4 feet tall, and they'll get about that wide, maybe even wider if the conditions are ideal and they're getting enough water. Diamond Lake grows about 17 inches tall and 3 feet wide. So, I mean, knowing that they take years and years to get to that size and a really consistent source of water, I can try to keep them on the smaller side by just giving them average moisture and so forth. But I don't know, I think in the end, it's just gonna be this mass of bold texture and it's gonna be gorgeous. So in the center, I have the Empress Wu hosta, which I think is the biggest known hosta in the land, like on the market as far as I know. And then very similar to it are the Wu La Las, which are kind of the same, but they've got variations. So there's one here and one on the other side. In between, we've got the Diamond Lakes, which have more of, in the end, like a pointier leaf, and they take on more of an icy blue texture or color. Jeez. And then wee hostas in the front, which grow 11 to 18 inches tall. They will spread out and they will fill in this whole edge. And in the end, I'm okay if they're even kind of like coming out from underneath the bigger hostas. I think they're a gorgeous texture. And then over here, even though there are some plants, there's like a ground cover sedum in here, and I don't know how it survives. Like, this is the amount of sun it gets. It's like a little bit of dappled through the morning and then shade. And somehow it survives. I'm actually gonna plant hostas right in the middle of the sedum. So these are the Hudson Bay. I absolutely love these. They're more of a stockier leaf, like shorter and more squat. And they grow about 2 feet tall, and they'll spread out about 2 feet. So they'll fill in, like, just be gorgeous right in here. right in back. I think these are pretty pistachio heucheras. I'm gonna clean those up today too. They need a little bit of attention. Okay, I brought the big auger out. I'm hopeful that I'm gonna be able to dig holes easily underneath these trees. I don't know. I clearly haven't planted much around them. So most of the trees around here, they kind of go straight down. And I don't have a lot of problems running into roots, but these are untested. So we're gonna give this a shot. And there it is, big auger, starter fertilizer. Should be able to whip this out pretty quick. All done, and it looks so much better than the nothing that was here. I can't wait till next spring because I think once the hostas have a chance to come back with fresh leaves, with no hard water damage. In fact, I had just gone through the greenhouse and cleaned all of the hostas up because they tend to dry out quicker in their containers, of course, and then they get dry tips and things like that. So I can't wait to see them like really nicely shaped, because like the wee hosta little hedge right up here, that one's really small. And so until that one kind of catches up with the others, it's going to look a little funny. Also, I forgot, right in the middle of the day, we get a little slice of sun in between these two tree canopies for about an hour. So those 2 or 3 hostas that get a little bit more sun should be totally fine. I also ran drip to the area, so I tapped in. This back bed has 2 runs of brown drip tubing that has the emitters every 18 inches. I tapped into it with a T right here, ran it along the back side of all the Virginia, and then I popped in with a 1 gallon per hour emitter and ran an individual tube back to each one of the 3 hostas. That way I didn't have to run another whole run of drip tubing. I don't think that would have been necessary. So that's how this area is watered, and then I mulched on top of it so it looks nice and tidy. And then in this area, even though there's the 2 drip tubes in this area, it's I think still connected to the grass sprinklers. That's the only area we haven't been able to separate it yet. So this spot actually does not run for very long. So I popped an individual emitter in for each one of these plants, a 1 gallon per hour emitter, so that each one of these can be watered individually as well as the area around it. And I think they'll be very happy with that. And then I was going to plant the Hudson Bay hostas right here, and I started to dig that hole, and there's just huge roots. I mean, you guys know it, willows. Yeah, I decided just to leave the sedum there. It looks peaceful and nice. I cleaned up the heucheras just a little bit. I mean, I could fuss for hours and get every single, damaged leaf off. I think that these aren't receiving quite enough water. So that's an area I probably need to run some more drip as well. I ended up tucking the hostas down this way, right underneath. Look at this poor grass. The elderberry comes out so far it blocks the sprinkler. See that? So the sprinkler comes this way, and then it blocks the water on the other side. So this side we need to hand water. That's just, one of the things. We should just expand the flower bed. Anyway, I had planted, or dug rather, 3 holes this way, and I was going to tuck something behind, and then I realized this spot actually gets quite a bit of sun because this isn't like a tree hanging over it. It'll get shaded a little bit in the afternoon. So I ended up doing a little trio of the Hudson Bays right in there, which I think is going to be very sweet. A nice little filler in this area. And then I can put something else right here. And here's how it looks from this side. Super happy with it, you guys. It's going to be pretty because I'll have the huge hostas, the blue hostas, the variegated hostas, a little bit of red. We get the strappy leaved grass texture with the irises. back in there, and then we get the deep green of the Virginia and the bright pop of gold with the coast to coast hostas. Out of all the areas I needed to work on, I'm super happy that this is one of them. What a great project on a really hot summer day to work in the shade and plant some things that won't shock, I don't think, too bad, just because I'm not exposing them. I'm actually putting them in more shade than they were in the greenhouse, because we've got 50% shade cloth in there. It's just a very nice diffused sun, so it really is protecting to shade plants rather, but this is going to be shadier, darker than it is in there. So I think they're going to be really happy, and they're going to have very consistent water. In the greenhouse they tend to dry out because, you know, depending on what time of day we can get in there to water, and if it's super windy one day from the next, they do tend to dry out. Super excited to show you guys this area as it fills in. Like next year, I think it's going to be awesome with the fresh hostas. It's just going to be great. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.